Alright guys, welcome back to Lad's Garage. I know it's been a little while since we've been out here working on Intimidator, but here we are. Got it piled full of tools. That's how you know you're working on a car. Last time we did a video, I did our firewall. I've already mounted the brake fluid reservoirs and drilled the holes out. Get in here. We've already drilled the holes out, as you can see, and ran the hoses through. They go up to here. Typically, our brake reservoirs, as you can see here, are mounted on top of the master cylinder for our brake pedals and clutch and all that. I run a different style clutch than or master cylinder for my clutch than what you see right here. So that's the only reason why my clutch isn't an external reservoir like this, or else I just go ahead and make it all three reservoirs external. Actually, since I've moved the brake pedal, or moved the whole pedal assembly, my clutch reservoir is actually really easy to access now. It's right here versus before this was all open right here, and I would have to kind of finagle myself in here just to put fluid in. One thing you don't want to do with whether you're running hoses or wiring or I don't know, anything that you really don't want cut, plastic lines, anything with fluids or you name it. When you cut a hole through metal, you got a sharp edge around where you cut your hole at. So you want to do something to more or less pad it. So what we did for our hoses and electrical lines, we went to Harbor Freight, bought our grommet assortment kit. And they go all the way from showing you got 1/4 inch, 40 pieces, down to 1 inch, which we only have 5 pieces of. That's fine. I don't think I got that many big holes I need to drill. We might see. But we're going to start, I'm probably not going to start running electrical and stuff through until I have the engine in and I know exactly where I want to run my lines at. Because, I hate to drill a hole here and need it over here to make everything reach without having to cut and splice. And that's the last thing you really want to do with electrical, is have a bunch of butt connectors in line. Way I see it, each butt connector that you have in line is a possible fail point. The more connections, the more failures. And when you're at the track, that's the last thing you want. So we're gonna slide a grommet on. Like I said, they're gonna kind of get rid of the sharp edges on that. Granted, these lines are not pressurized. They're just, fluid's gonna be in here on these two. They're gonna fill this line up and go down to the reservoir. Real simple, no pressure. So you're screwed if you lose them, but don't have to worry about blowing them. So this is what we kind of end up with after it's all said and done with. You got your little rubber piece. It's pretty tight fit. I haven't done this side yet, as you can see. With it being a tight fit, you can take you a little bit of oil, or like I got this red and tacky grease spray that Lucas put out. I don't know if they're still putting it out or not, but I haven't had any luck with it. But there is enough grease residue on the outside of the can that you put a little bit around your hose or whatever. If it's going to be a tight squeeze, put a little on there, kind of help lube it up a little bit, get it through the grommet, and push it through the firewall the best you can. And like I said, it might be a pretty tight fit, so you might have to use both hands to make it work right, if you understand what I'm saying here. Another thing that I want to talk about while putting a car together, while we're in the process of doing all this fun stuff, is hose clamps. I know you're probably like, what in the world's that got to do with putting a race car together? Well, you're at the track, you got to take something apart. You're limited on your time that you got in between races, so you go out in hot laps, you find out you have an issue, you might have 30 minutes to an hour at the most before you're going back out on a track to race. So you want to be able to dig in, find your issue, and get it fixed to get it back together, get out on the track. And last thing you want to do is try to figure out, well, which way is this hose clamp facing? Try to get both hose clamps. I could reach through the fender well and get to both of these real easy with the direction they are facing. The downfall is they're a Harbor Freight small hose clamp. I think they're Harbor Freight. And they're like a 6.5 or a 7. I think it's like a 6.5, bolt size or head size or flathead. I hate using Phillips or flathead screwdrivers on these hose clamps because I always wind up with a screwdriver stuck in my hand. All right, ran into my first snag with the brakes. Simple fix, kind of. So the master cylinders that we had on were Wilwood master cylinders, but where the fittings go in right here, they did not fit for this style fitting. So being that this set already had one of these style fittings on, I tested it, they fit, and so I was like, well, we'll go ahead and try that. Well, they had this style reservoir for all three master cylinders, both brake master cylinders and the clutch. Tried it, didn't fit. So we took our Wilwood master cylinder and made it work on this pedal set, which is, these are AFCO, that's Wilwood, obviously Wilwood brake pedals, but sometimes you just gotta make things work. Not a hard task to do, just pop little C-clips, hold that on there, pop that out, unbolt it, two bolt or nuts that hold it on. Real easy. Now, when you're working with hydraulic lines, more or less, some people debate whether or not to use your traditional tape style thread tape or just use the stuff that comes in a tube and liquefy it and put it on there. I don't know. This has always been my go-to for the most part. But where a lot of people get frustrated with this is they don't understand there is a right and a wrong way to put it on. Easiest way that I can think of is you want the tail of your tape facing the opposite direction if you're screwing it in. So, easiest way I do it, when you start your tape, we're going to be twisting whatever wise this is. I want my tape to be pointing off the start of it. You can see pointing towards the way I'm going to be spinning it. And we're going to twist it just like we're screwing it in to whatever fitting we're putting it in. And for those of you that don't understand, I'll demonstrate real quick. If you do it the other way, you just twist your tape off. Do it this way. It goes in, it does its job. You don't have issues. And another trick, cutting plastic or nylon lines, take a pocket knife. You got one like me, got a Gerber, you got this little lip right here. Put your pocket knife in like so. You put your line in, just squeeze it. Get a nice clean cut. You guys see every time. No, I don't think that's a Boy Scout certified maneuver, but it works. So the current dilemma is we got our lines pretty well done from the master cylinders. You guys see down there. Got plastic lines run up. It's pretty much I think they're T blocks, the way they're set up. They're not T's, but T blocks. Line in, line out, and another line going over to our brake bias. But we got to figure out where we want to bring this out on the firewall, because the front I'm going to have to put a T in on it the split sides. You know, one side's got to go over to the right side and one's going to stay over here to the left. But we also got to figure out how we want to route our line, if we're going to bring it down across here to our fitting here, or how exactly we want to do it, because obviously to me it don't make sense to have, you know, line just sprung out across the open. It creates a grab point, something come up and snag it, rip the brake line off. I don't have brakes and makes it for a rough night. Granted, I used to race without running brakes, but so we're gonna scratch our head a minute. I got an idea of what I want to do. I guess it's just a matter of doing it, I guess. This is what we come up with. We got a T fitting. We're gonna run the line. We already got this line ran, but it'll come down and race up against there when we're all done. I'm not finalizing anything by putting zip ties or clamps on or anything like that yet, but we're gonna run it over and down, like I said, to try and help with reducing possible snag areas or anything like that. Alright, I don't know if you've seen in that little clip of what we got going on, but this is for our right side brake line. Just kind of simple course, over, down this bar. The header comes kind of down this way, so this is all kind of protected. And people are going to say, what's that? And some people are going to say, that's illegal. This is actually a shut-off valve for the right front brake. I can't tell you. It has, I can't remember if the old Leafer had all 4 brakes working or not. I know typically I've always ran 3 brakes. I've always just taken the right front off, usually not even have a caliper there, just 3 brakes, that's it. Matter of fact, my old Monza, the rotor was actually milled off around the bearing housing, or however you want to put it, the hub itself. So our rules allow us the 3-wheel brake. It's not electronic, it's not in the car. This is the only adjustment I have. I'm cheap. It actually came on another car that a modified that I bought a while back, and ended up more or less trading that for the old Leafer. So it's just some of the pieces I kept off of it. And like I said, We can shut it off. This brake, in theory, will not work. Allows us to only have left front here and rear. Some tracks don't allow you to run a brake bias at all. Our tracks allow, like I said, allows us to either 3-wheel, where you can have 4-wheel brakes. We can run brake bias. So might as well have the option. Different tracks, you can change it up, run different setups. Let's try different things, but so far we got our front brakes done, or at least lined up. The backs, gonna be pretty much the same process, with the exception of the back's already teed off back there. So we're just gonna have to figure out if we're gonna run our line through the firewall and down and under. Might end up doing with the back brakes is running the line down that center bar and through this center bar here, and bring it out back here. I don't know if you can consider this a firewall, but you can't really see, but bring it back here and run it that route. I don't know yet. We still gotta jack the car up, see what we got going on. So while I was at Harbor Freight, I have some of these already, but I bought more of these 18-piece rubber insulated clamp assortments. Assortment, I guess you should say. Kind of see how these work. Just gonna, a few little pieces, tidy it up on the firewall. And if I run the line through the car for the rear brakes, I don't really need many of these, if any at all. So biggest thing is we're going to use these to clamp the engine, or to clamp the brake lines down, electrical lines, everything. Keep everything kind of tidied up looking and tight. Loose wires, anything rubbing, shaking is a possible failure point. I'm not no expert at it, but I pretend to be on YouTube. But I'm not going to get crazy with trying to make everything look perfect till the engine is back from Lightning McQueen, sitting in the car. Like I said, we got to run brake lines, finish the rear up, but that's not a big deal. But as far as wiring and that type of stuff, I'm not going to drill any holes and try to run anything, like I said, until I know for sure where I want it at, because I don't like spaghetti noodle messes of wires and brake lines and all that, like we've been dealing with here. I mean, here's the spaghetti noodles of brake lines that we took off the car. That's just the front and the first section of the rear. And the wiring, I don't know, when I first got the car, like the first thing I did is pull the instrument panel out and the switch panel, and you can kind of see here, it's not perfect, but I tidied that up just a little. It's all about when you have an issue, you want to be able to get to it, fix it. I'm thinking over the winter, my next goal is to buy another sheet of aluminum. We're going to redo this dash. We might redo the interior and actually do a closed off cockpit. I don't know yet, but we're talking way ahead of ourselves here. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I know it's kind of a simple video, but I just want to show you. We're running nylon brake line, plastic for simple people like me. Matter of fact, like I said, I've got nylon line that I stole off of another car that I had, and a lot of people are using it. I'm gonna give it a shot. I've never used it myself, but we're gonna wrap it up. We gotta get ready to hit the road. Been a long vacation for me, but we gotta hit the road in the morning. You can catch us over on Lad's Garage Trucking Diaries. Y'all stay safe out there. Keep watching for videos. We may end up be racing sooner or later. Maybe not with Intimidator, but we may be filling the shoes of Stroker Ace. So y'all stay safe. God bless you. Make sure your brakes work.